All right, so good afternoon, everyone. I hope we are fine and that our day is going well. So today would, of course, today would be, like we all know, let me start from the background. Like we all know, this is Charity Support Foundation, established to help young people and students learn the basics of education and even to, of course, properly study, preparing for work and other examinations in that light. So without wasting much of our time, today we'll be treating government. And of course, for those who will be watching this much later, um, just a second, trying to, yeah, for those who will be watching this much later, I would advise that you pay attention. So while I'm still loading the PowerPoint, it's just a minute. Almost done. Okay. All right. So we can go ahead. Like I said, for those who will be joining, I would advise that you pay attention. So like I said, Jason Charity Support Foundation, and our topic is government. So today we'll be taking government, we'll be taking constitution, and we'll be going as fast as we can because of time that is not on our side, because of our time. So yes, let's move. For today, we'll be talking about the definition of government, definition of constitution, sources of constitutions, feature of a constitution, types of constitution, categories of constitution, merit and demerit of each type of constitution. And starting with the definition, we'll see that this particular definition has been highlighted to different parts so that we can pay attention and understand it in depth. A constitution is defined as a body of agreed rules and principles stating how the powers of governing a country are given and how these powers are to be exercised. So we see that a constitution is defined as a body. First is a body, emphasis. A body means is a collection of rules, a collection of rules. It is multilateral. We are combining so many rules. So a constitution is different from every regular rules because it is a constitution of rules. It's a collection of rules, rather. It's something you bring so many rules together for and say, okay, so let's say it's a bundle of rules that may work to break it down to us. Then it says rules and principles. So yes, it is not always rules, principles are involved. And these rules and principles also should not be taken literally. It extends to so many. We're just trying to tell us the kinds of rules that are put in place, the laws, the principles, the morals, everything put in place. Now it says, stating how the powers governing a country. So if it's not power governing a country, it is not our constitution for the purpose of this class. It is going to be another type of constitution. We have organizations who have their constitution that governs it, but for the sake of this class, we are talking about the kind of constitution that governs a country, how those powers are given, and how they should be exercised. So, of course, still moving on. Now, sources of constitution. And of course, at this point, it's important to pay attention. So, sources of constitution. Yeah, so we have here history of the people. History of the people. And when we talk about history of the people, you would agree with me that our history differs as societies because each society has different history it stems from. And so if you are conversant with your religion, your ethnic, there are always history to these things. So for the history of the people now, to establish a constitution, you must take into consideration the history of the people in preparing what will be the bundle of rules that will that will guide these people. The constitution, they are um you take into consideration their past political events, their previous administration, all of these things are all important to make into constitution. Now, Act of Parliament. We also have the laws and enactments by Act of Parliament. These laws form part of constitutional development too. So, what are the laws made by our National Assembly in Nigeria, for instance? And of course, when we talk about National Assembly, we all know we have the Senate and we have the House of Rep. What are the laws they make? That also, of course, comes into the picture. Then we have the customs and traditions of our people, the constitution, the customs, what people believe, their norms, their values. These are things that matters before you can create any constitution. Then, of course, we also have past constitutions. You understand? Constitution is a development cycle. So for every time there are usually new constitution enacted, and that new constitution doesn't just come as a vacuum. It comes resting on the past constitution, using it as a background, and then it is enhanced, just like your Android phone. For those who are using smartphones, every Android version is always newer and better than the previous. And most of the bases on the previous are seen in the new one, but in a more advanced form. So also constitution works. It has to take into consideration those past ones, and then they continually improve it year in, year out. For instance, many people are conversant with the fact that in Nigeria we're already calling for a review of our constitution and amendments. So going forward, we also have judicial precedents. Judicial precedents are cases decided by our judiciary in Nigeria that have also over the years formed part of our legislation. Cases that have been handled by the judiciary, by judges, by justices, and then now when they are making a new constitution, they take into consideration these things, especially when it has been decided on anything that pertains to the constitution. So the new constitution takes cognizance of it and it is applied. It is applied. So um, going forward also, features of a constitution. Every constitution has a preamble. And the preamble is what tells us what we are going to see in that constitution. So the preamble runs in different ways. Every law, even most laws have preambles. Preambles tells you is a foretail. It's like when you buy a book, the prologue telling you certain things about the book, the story. That is how a preamble is. So also we have the political structure. The political structure tells you what kind of government system are you operating. Is it the unity system of government? Is it the federal? What kind of government? Is it monarchical system of government? These are things that when you take a constitution, you observe. You start saying the president of Federal Republic of Nigeria shall do this, the state governor shall do this. By the time you go through, you're able to, oh, okay. And if it's monarchical, by the time you are saying things like the Queen of England shall, you already, oh, okay, this is what is that a constitution reveals to people. Then, of course, you understand the fundamental objectives of that state. You understand? These fundamental objectives are the principles that govern that state, the objectives, the political ideology of the state. Okay, and when we say states, yeah, we are talking about country. Country, countries are called states on a global level and or a continental level. So it tells you about, okay, this is political ideology and all of this thing. Then in constitution are also embedded citizenship of each nation, of each state. So it starts, okay, these are the types of citizenship that are available. This is how to get this. So in our constitution now, for instance, we have citizenship by birth, and by registration, naturalization, and all of these things, it is entrenched okay, this is how to go about it, this is how to, okay, and then you understand it, even from the onset. Then fundamental rights. There should not be a constitution that does not have fundamental rights. These are the rights that are the privileges, or when I say, okay, let me not mix it up. Right is different from privileges. These are the rights that is the benefit of being a citizen that citizens of that nation should enjoy. They're entitled to it. They are very much entitled to it. So now let's go into types of constitution. Like I said, we are going fast because of our time. So we have written constitution, for instance. A written constitution is that document, that has in it embodied the fundamental principles that governs a country that we are talking about. That, or you can say a written constitution is that code of conduct or that set of principles, rules, and regulations that has been codified. When we use the word codify, means it is written that it's something you can undo, that everybody can have access to. And when we talk about the merits, you're able to understand it better. So it allows for proper documentation, because proper documentation means it is written down, it is in a copy. It's like when you write a book, or when you claim to write a book and we can't see the book and you're telling us in your head you've written it. No, proper documentation. Let us see the document that embodies what you are calling a constitution. Then, of course, it allows for amendment procedure. So usually each constitution, like I said, has in it several things. And one of it is the procedure to amend such constitution. It comes with it. So it starts saying, okay, to amend the constitution, these are the process. Then it is easily available. When something is codified and written down, everybody can have access to it. It's easily available. Then ease of reference. It's not the same with the former. Ease of reference means when there's a conflict, we can easily make reference to it. You can say, no, come and see. In chapter this, in section this, it is written that, and then we are able to check it. If there's a conflict as to the meaning of a thing, we can check the interpretative section and say, okay, this is what it says. These are things that are beneficial when something is written down. Then it provides means of assessment. Means of assessment means we are able to assess ourselves, how well is our government performing. For instance, Nigeria now we have chapter 12 constitution that ordinarily has a lot of benefits for Nigerian citizens, but our government doesn't act in that light. So because it is written down, it gives us the confidence in our government are not performing because of it has been codified. These are the things you enjoy, but we are not enjoying it. You understand? So quickly, let's move to the demerits. Rigid. It's rigid because when you take into consideration the stress of writing it, putting it into a document, it is always rigid. It is written down, people can leave it like that, for instance. And this is many years after that, about 22 years after that, many people can still be like, oh, okay, see where we are today. That is it. We see it as expecting date. So it is rigid. Then, of course, it discourages reform. This is still related because amendments of something that has been written down takes too long. So let's just keep managing and leave it like that. Then of course it cannot be amended quickly. Of course, this has been explained along the way. It's not something you can do overnight or you just set up a committee and change it more because a constitution is complex. It's a complex body of rules. By the time you amend one section, it can affect another one. So you must be really careful as to how you amend. It must be something that you say you amend, then you've reviewed it countless times so that it doesn't affect another one. Because it's not going to be the kind of document that you review every month or every year. It shouldn't be that way. So then political tension. And what do you mean by political tension as demerits? So what we mean here is that it has tendency to cause political tension because when you've written it down and it doesn't favor a particular set of people, they are agitated, they are dissatisfied, and they may not take it easy on the country. Then, of course, we got inconsistency. So, pardon the typo there, but inconsistency. it is inconsistent because certain sections may contradict the other. You understand? There may be conflict between one section and another. So because it's written down, it is easy for these errors to be seen. Now, let me see. I hope we still have enough time to go on. Okay. Yeah, we still have a few seconds to go on. Moving forward now, we are going to unwritten constitution. So let me just make this quite easy for us. I'll just read it. I'll okay. All right. Thank you. So let's just go forward. Let's just continue. Um, about going forward, I was talking about written constitution, and I said this is defined as that principles governing a country, combination of a law of statutes, you understand, not clearly written down. It is not codified in one document. Sometimes when we say unwritten, we are not trying to say that the old laws are in the air. What we are trying to say is that it has not been compressed, it has not been compounded into a single document that we can say this is constitution. So sometimes some of these laws, some of these countries that practice unwritten constitution, they have several acts, they have several regulations that governs them. However, everything has not been put down together into one document that we can say, yes, this is written down. So it's still what we can call unwritten. You understand? So what are the merits of the unwritten constitution? It is flexible. It is something that does not take any special procedure. You just amend it. It can be amended the same ordinary law amended. Another merit is it can be changed quickly. You understand? Considering it is flexible, you can change it as often as you want. Then we have quick decisions. It allows for quick decision making. It's not something you have to think so much about, Then we have, in case of emergencies, it is suitable. It is more suitable. So when there are emergencies, some people can say, okay, this was the law yesterday, now this is the law today, and people have to adapt. You understand? But it's not so easy in Nigeria or other countries that practice within the constitution, so to say. Then we have that it is easily interpreted. So it is easy to interpret a flexible constitution, an unwritten constitution, because it's not something that you have to start looking at what's the literal meaning, what is the meaning that it was enacted for, what was it said for, what are the foundational principles. All of these things are unnecessary. You just have to get the basis of it and you understand it. What are the merits? So we are going to the merits. One of the merits are simple. It's not something we have to explain and long and waste our time. It does not allow for check and balances because it is not clearly written down. You understand? Another demerit is there can be issue of arbitrary government. Somebody can exercise laws as he wishes because it is not clearly written down. Nobody can grasp all the laws and say, no, you are contravening this. Someone can wake up and say, okay, this is it, this is that, and you have to follow. Then another merit is that number two is that it is not easily known. Unlike written constitution where citizens can know their laws, their rights, all of this, you can't easily know that in a country practicing written constitution because it is not in a single document. So it's not something you can find to reference. So for the smart guys, I'll just say that take it as the merit of written is likely going to be the demerit of unwritten. So by the time you can find that trick, you are able to go faster. So the demerit of unwritten is that there is no ease of reference because it's not something you can study as okay, you violated this law, you can make reference to it because it's not even in a single document. And that's it. So, what are the methods of amendments? I think we should be going into that methods of amendments before I go into a lot. So, method of amendment, we have rigid and flexible. And just from the word, you can know what it is already. They're also called sometimes classifications. Yeah. So this constitution, rigid simply means something difficult. Flexible most time is the synonym for easy, something that comes easy, that is not stressful. So rigid constitution are, pardon me, those kind of constitution that take special procedure to amend. They are usually difficult, technical, and not straightforward. You get it. And so usually that's just it. That's usually it. Then the advantages are that it allows for the enhancement of human rights because in such kind of constitution, you give constitution to the people and the rights that are equal stability in the country because it's not something any government can come into and amend just to please themselves. So there's a lay down procedure you must follow. That's it. So it allows for check and balances because it's rigid. So everybody knows, okay, let's check it well, let's properly examine it before we make any rash and hasty decision. Then another is that it serves as a restraint. So rigid constitution is like a shield against selfish political leaders who are hoping to get into power to plead do certain things and make themselves happy. I'm sure there was a time in Nigeria where we heard that a particular president was trying to, there were rumors here and there that taught them. And thank God for our constitution, whether it was for good, whether it was for bad, all that didn't work out because our constitution is quite thin and makes it quite rigid also. Then, of course, it does not allow for revolutionary actions here and there. That's it. So we're going right about now into the disadvantages of rigid constitution. Disadvantages of rigid constitution. So it's that there's abuse of rights because people's rights can be easily trampled upon. Then, of course, the amendment procedure is complicated. It's not straightforward. So here now, you see some of the advantages because that's just when we say rigid, we are talking about written. When we say unwritten, we are talking about flexible. So it's just like that. So it's not something we have to belabor ourselves to quite understand. Just find the smart way to get these things so that we don't end up repeating and repeating and repeating and you're bored. So let's constitutions. There are quite a lot, but for sake of our conversation, yeah, we can take about 5, 6, 7. So a written constitution is properly documented, unwritten is not. That is, it is not documented at all or not in a single document. A written constitution is rigid and quite difficult to amend. To amend. A written constitution is good for ease of reference. You can easily refer to it, but written is not good enough because you cannot easily make reference to it. Then a written constitution, this is number 4, is easily available to citizens. Unwritten constitution is not and cannot be available to citizens. Get it? Then of course, a written constitution we have right for individuals. Somebody, please, who is trying to distracted our
Muyiwa, you can, since you are the host, you can mute whoever unmute herself or himself.
yeah. We have the person speak at the person to save us time.
My NECO boy, bro.
I know it's a knob.
A big.
Who's David? Okay. So we can continue. Yeah, like I was teaching, we have a few minutes left. Like I was teaching, I said that number 5, we have individual rights that are enshrined in written constitution, whereas they are not in an unwritten constitution. They are not stated. Then, of course, those are about it. By the time you look at the advantages of written and unwritten that we mentioned before now, their merit and demerit, flexible and rigid, you would be able to cover up some of these things. The goal is to touch each part as fast as we can. And when we will examine the advantages and disadvantages for rigid and flexible, you'll see that it one way or the other aligns with the advantages and disadvantages of written and unwritten. So they are actually interrelated in other ways. So about now would be making room for questions, just to touch as much as we can. Anybody with question? Okay, so in absence of questions, would probably draw the curtain today. So for next class, we take Territory Federal Constitution, Unitary Constitution. Then then of course functional development. We have the likes of Clifford, Richard, DT, yes, the likes of those constitution that will be taken. So I think that will be all for now. And thank you for joining today's class. We hope you've learned one or two things. If you have questions, you can drop your questions on If you have questions, you can drop your questions on Jason Charity Support Foundation on social media, probably YouTube, where the video would probably be uploaded to be addressed as soon as possible. So that will be it on today's class. Thank you for joining once again. Take care and have a very wonderful day.